Hello everyone. I hope you are learning from our videos and constantly being educated about cloud and how other web applications or technologies are supposed to work. So today we have a very interesting topic, which is based upon a lot of questions or comments from our customers who are kind of thinking on cloud or contemplating to move the applications or workloads to cloud because pretty much a lot of the trend is happening to go to cloud, which is good. You should definitely have cloud computing at the back of your mind. We have our new app product, cloudmeshsite.com. Please check it out. And for any of your web application hosting or any of your other application requirements. So without further ado, let's get into it. Cloud myths busted, and I have top 10 over here, which I'll go in the next slide. So what is the first myth? There is nothing free in cloud. So which is where that cloud providers always advertise there's always a free tier, and if you have RStudio, or at least for the first tier, when you're in cloud, you do get a lot of free tier aspects that helps you understand how cloud works, how the pricing is structured, so you could make the most of cloud. And also once the free tier is over, you get a lot of benefits in terms of the storage, in terms of the eventing, where till a certain limit, the events are free. And what I could do is I could show the billing console so you can get an idea about what exactly is free for your application. Secondly, I just wanted to kind of mention that like say Oracle Cloud free tier, it offers 2 VMs, but with limits, and this is as when you join up. But this limit is only for a short time. It's not like going to be there always. AWS free tier, if you join it, includes 750 hours of VMs, which is EC2, but again, only for the first 12 months. GCP free tier has restrictions on certain regions and machine types. Okay, so if you can see my console, what I have is the billing dashboard. And just to show you what I meant by certain limit of events is also free. And this is where you see, like, there are different pricing tiers. Like, this is for a huge number. I guess that's 5 billion events. You have this sort of pricing. And after that, the pricing would be increasing. And even if like events is one thing, but there are other tiers as well that you could see. The pricing is very nominal. For like you see over here, for 0.01, you get like pretty much it's as good as free, but you do get like more benefits for a lower tier. And there's a lot of like free options as well. If I show you like over here, this is where you see per million query and the pricing. This is going to be the setup that is there. Likewise in CloudFormation, you don't like you see there. For CloudFormation, another setup is free. Like this is infrastructure as a code. You're not charged for any CloudFormation using, but the resources you spend with CloudFormation, that is you're gonna be paying for them. So that is where like a lot of services are free as part of the setup of cloud, but they're usually the compute, the storage, networking, the egress, data ingress is usually free, but data egress is charged. So just keep in mind on those things. But cloud can be cheap if you use it the right way. I hope this provides an understanding about what I meant by the first myth, that there is nothing free. There are a lot of things free in cloud, but use it for your discretion. So with that, let's get to the next myth. So setting up a VPC, which is a virtual private cloud in AWS, in Azure, even in Google, it is a virtual private cloud. In Azure, it is a virtual network. In Oracle, it is virtual cloud network, but same thing. It is nothing but as a logical separation of your network for your applications, and that you can set up. So it is a myth that okay, if you just set it up and you won't have any like charges, so that's a misconception. So essentially, the VPCs, they are free, but if you start spinning up components, like say, if you start spinning up a NAT gateway, network address translation gateway, that is not free, and you are going to be incurring charges for them. AWS VPC endpoints, if you spin up, which you should be doing, you shouldn't be going over the DNS internet. You should want to keep your traffic local. that is charged, and this charge is what I took. It could be fluctuating based on the region that you want to deploy your thing. So for the latest, for the billing, always go to the AWS documentation to get the latest charges. Likewise, Azure Private Link Service, there's going to be a charge when connecting to resources. It's not going to be free. Likewise, GCP VPC peering costs can apply for data transfer as well. So similarly, Oracle networking charges, they will be for load balancers, NAT gateways, and this applies for any of the clouds. So let me just show you what I mean, and then we can get on to the next one. So you see I have this VPC here, and if I check it out, I have the resources spun up. I do have a lot of subnets route tables over here, but if I have to go back to billing and show you the VPC levels charges, and this is I'm pulling up for February. So you could see there is a charge over here, though nominal. With what we have is we have set up in the regions, we try to reduce the charges. Where if you see, there are the public IP addresses is going to be charged. There's a charge for that. And there's going to be additional resources if I will be spinning up. So don't be under the misconception that you spin up VPCs. It's just going to be free. So I hope that helps you understand what the myth number 2 will be. So let's get on to myth number 3, which is I have stocked my instance, so I'm not going to be charged. A lot of customers, they come to us that, oh, in cloud, I just spin up instances and I just leave it to a stop state. I'm not going to be charged for that. So that is where this myth is going to be very important, and try to bust this myth. Stopping an instance stops compute charges. Yes, you will not be charged for the compute, but it's not just compute you pay for. You also pay for the disk. In AWS, it's called elastic block storage. In Azure, it is managed disks. In GCP, persistent disks. In Oracle, it is volumes. So you will be or doc volumes. So it will be costing money, and storage can be expensive depending upon the type of storage you have. If you have magnetic, it is going to be the least expensive. But depending upon the storage tier and the throughput, you will be paying money. And this is in fact, this is the most expensive storage that cloud will be there. Apart from the blob storage, the disk storage is very expensive. Public IPs, as I showed, even if you have detachers, it's not attached to an instance, you will still be charged for the public IPs. And only if you terminate the instance, and that also if you terminate an instance, don't be under the misconception, oh, no, I'm not going to be charged. You need to ensure that the volumes are terminated. The machine images, if you have taken any machine images, those are terminated. As well as you don't have any backup of the particular storage or the image as well. So that will ensure that you're no longer being charged for the terminated instances. So keep this in mind, because a lot of customers, they kind of get a bill. Oh, that deleted, but still. So I hope this provides a good comparison. Which is private endpoints. They are faster and more secure. So what are private endpoints? Private endpoints are what you use to kind of keep your traffic local within the network and not going over the internet. So let me show you what exactly are private endpoints and how exactly you configure. If you require further details, there are tons of articles online. You can just Google it and search what are private endpoints. But let me just quickly show you what I mean. So if I am in a VPC section, and this is the VPC that I have, and if I go to the endpoints here, you see I could create an EC2 instance endpoint, and I can create many other endpoints over here. I have for AWS services, and you could search the services pretty much for a lot of the services. You will find endpoints. What this is going to tell you is that if I have to connect to a service, say I want to connect to a service that, like say App Runner, I don't need to go, while they're using the DNS, traverse the internet. I could kind of use private endpoint that will ensure that the traffic stays within the AWS's data center. Each cloud has private endpoints. Azure, Oracle, even GCP has private endpoints, but what this ensures is a little more security. It's not that you just use private endpoints, things will be secure. You need to have other things to consider. But this is one aspect of security. It'll just ensure. But it may not be always cheap. There is a nominal cost, and it is hourly usually that you will have to pay. So let's check out the other points. The private endpoints, they provide security, but they will also add latency due to extra hops. They are not always cheaper. There is going to be a charge that is associated per hour. And you will require manual routing adjustments for connectivity, and that could also, you need to ensure you are doing it properly to ensure there's no port that is opened. So I just wanted to kind of bust this out because a lot of customers say, oh, use private endpoints, but there is a cost associated. So ensure you delete the resources. If in Trusted Advisor, AWS, it will tell you if our endpoint is not in use, it will tell you that this one is not in use and you want to clean it up. So let's get on to the next myth. Storage is cheap. I hear this a lot. Like, okay, I'll put it in cloud, storage is cheap. Oh, just back it up. You could kind of have it, but we have seen customers run a huge bill because of this myth, and then they learn it the hard way. So don't consider storage is cheap. Always have the right cloud architecture in place. So storage prices, it varies significantly. And as I said, there are multiple storage types. There is like for blob storage, which is S3 in AWS. There is a Glacier Deep Archive. If you put store data on S3, it is going to be, of course, more expensive if compared to archiving the data. So that is where you just need to have the right lifecycle policy, right management, so that after a certain time, the data could automatically move to the different tier, which will provide the cost benefits in cloud. EBS snapshots are not free. They are charged per GB. The Azure blob, hot versus cold storage, access frequently, it'll impact cost. And likewise, GCP persistent SSD versus HDD pricing is different, so each cloud is different. And not just that, if you use CloudWatch logs, a lot of customers say that, okay, let me have CloudWatch logs for a long time, and if you do that, you're going to run a huge bill because CloudWatch is not a storage mechanism. You do want to export the logs from CloudWatch to S3 and have the right tiering and have the minimal retention period in CloudWatch. So let me quickly show what I mean. So if I go to CloudWatch here, and I'll just show one storage mechanism, there are other storage S3 HDD, you can check it out yourself, and volume I just showed, but let me just show you the storage here. So if I go to log group, and if I just select any log group for that matter. So what you see over here, like what we have done is we have configured it for 1 day, just to ensure that the cost is not that expensive. But if I come here, and if I don't have this retention period of one day, and rather have it for a lot of customers we have seen is like 12 months. Yeah, they'll run a huge bill if there's a lot of application logs being put out. And God forbid, if some developer has put a verbose or a debug in the logs, that could be a kind of, you will be dumping a lot of log data in your CloudWatch. But what I meant was that what you should be doing is, you could be having this option. You could export data to Amazon S3, or you could also be exporting to OpenSearch. And we have done a video on how you can go about for OpenSearch, and you can check out the playlist for more information. So let's get on to the next myth. Cloud can scale indefinitely and no resource limits. You would have seen a lot of these advertisements that mention that, okay, just put it on cloud. And like for Thanksgiving Day or for Christmas Day sale or for Diwali sale, you don't need to worry, and everything is going to be hunky-dory and your application will be up and running. That's really not the case. A cloud is nothing but your application deployed on a data center that somebody else is managing. That infrastructure provider, in this case, it's AWS, Azure, Oracle, GCP. They provide a bunch of services, but there will be data center limits. In fact, not a lot of the services are going to be available in that data center. Keep that in mind when connecting on cloud to ensure that you are compliant, as well as you can run out of any services that you intend to use. Cloud has both soft and hard limits, so just ensure you check the quotas and the limits. There are, like I say, for example, AWS EC2 instances are per region and limited to around 20 vCPUs. In Azure subscription, there are quotas, and for a customer, and this is a real example about the quotas for customers like for Cosmos DB. Cosmos DB is a NoSQL database in Azure, spin up additional and it is advertised instances. There is no limitation, which we had to recommend. But for a real customer, what we have seen to go on the application Azure database for PostgreSQL. So because of the limit, and also they were not able to auto-scale. So they had to kind of never say that, okay, auto-scale it. They wanted to go with higher instance so that they don't run out of capacity. So we have seen these issues. And it's not just in Azure, it is there in AWS specifically, say for GPU chips for AI/ML. Because there is a shortage of GPU chips available, not everybody can do, so you will have to have capacity reservation in place to ensure you have the right compute available. Keep these things in mind when architecting on cloud. And also, like GCP has default project level limits on CPU and storage. OCI has limits on always free instances, But it's not just always free, it's any resource that kind of, if the data center becomes very popular, or every application in the world wants to prior to that data center, keep these things in mind. And cloud is nothing but running on data center with someone else managing, so there's going to be limitations. So myth number 7, if you're not in cloud, you're not modern on microservices. We hear that from a lot of customers, from a CIO we talk with, or from strategic leaders. We need to move to cloud. And what is the reason for moving to cloud? We need to kind of be modern. We are probably falling behind. So we wanted to kind of bust this myth that just by setting up your data center, like your VMs on cloud, you will not be modern on microservices. So this is where modernization is not just cloud only. There are multiple ways, even on-prem. If you have the right technology, right architecture, you could be very modern and very much as cloud. You just need to kind of balance the things out. Cloud has benefits, but if you have any questions, reach out to us. A hybrid is very popular. In fact, a lot of the banks, they are very much on-prem. It's not that they haven't exited the data center. So hybrid is here to stay in the long run. And on-prem is pretty valid itself. As I said, banks use on-prem for compliance. Edge computing still needs on-site processing. When I say edge computing is like CDN, that is content delivery networks. They still use edge computing. We use edge computing a lot. You can have microservices on-prem, no doubt about that. You can have their right. You can have Pivotal Cloud Foundry. You can have Red Hat OpenShift as part of your on-prem setup. Tons of architectures. Drop in a comment if you want any consultation, and we are more than glad to help you. As I said, Kubernetes runs on bare metal too, so you could kind of have the same setup that is there on cloud on your on-prem as well. So don't just move to the cloud for the sake of that. If the world is moving, don't just be somebody who just follows others. Have the right vision, have the right roadmap in place to move to cloud. We have seen a lot of organizations doing a lift and shift to cloud only to repatriate, that is move their data center applications back to on-prem, because they end up running high cloud costs and they don't really understand what they're getting into. And serverless is a very popular, or cloud agnostic is a very popular terminology. Serverless, yes, definitely cloud provides that option. On-prem, it'll be kind of difficult to achieve serverless, but serverless is not the right pattern for every setup, just like Kubernetes is not the right pattern for every application. So keep that in mind and understand the architectures which you want to get into. So what is myth number 8? By default, cloud is cheap. And there's a very big misconception, because a lot of marketing agencies, a lot of these service integrators, what they do is they go to the customer place and they say that, migrate to cloud. And on day one, you're going to see your costs drop by 30%, 40%. They'll just throw in numbers without understanding the true implications. And that's not a good practice, something that's not ethical as well. But what I mean is that cloud is cheap only if it is managed properly. That is, you can't just say migrate your applications to cloud and say I want to automate later. You need to have infrastructure as a code. You need to have CI/CD pipelines from day one. If you do it later, that later will never come, and your applications are again going to be monoliths. And with lack of flexibility, your deployment times will be very high. You will not reap the benefits of cloud then. So which again, it's going to be, and if you have to compare the cost of spinning up a VM on cloud compared to you purchasing a laptop, in the long run, the laptop is going to be a lot cheaper. So just keep those things in mind. And cloud is a OPEX, like operational expenditure, compared to a CAPEX, which is on-prem, or capital expenditure. So there's a lot of different depreciation of the methodologies that you will have to consider. A few cost-saving tips. Auto-scaling reduces idle costs. Always auto-scale your applications if you want to use Kubernetes. And if you don't want to use Kubernetes, there are the multiple patterns that you could go serverless as well. Spot instances, preemptible VMs, you could save around 70 to 90%. A reserved instance is another strategy that you could consider. And this is where reserved instances, go for it. And monitor your cloud costs. Always be on top of your cloud costs. Keep their quotas. Keep the billing threshold in place. And to ensure that if you breach the threshold, you are alerted and take the required action. So what is myth 9? We need only one cloud strategy. Like say, I just need to be on AWS. If I'm on AWS, I'm good. I don't need to look into Azure. I don't need to look into, say, Cloudflare. So that is not the right case. We never promote this methodology. In fact, we always say that don't put your eggs in one basket. Try to use the best feature of each cloud provider. It not just helps you as the company to ensure that you are always up and running, but also what it ensures is that the cloud provider is on the toes to keep you as a customer. And any freebies or any discounts or negotiation, you could do a lot better if you go with a multi-cloud strategy. So which is where the myth is a single cloud strategy means that you are using only one cloud provider. Keep that in mind. Multi-cloud, the myth is multi-cloud is unnecessary and too complex. That's not really the case. If you should have multi-cloud as part of your organization because there are so many, the cloud landscape has really broadened up. So you should definitely consider multi-cloud. And the myth is one cloud provider, say AWS, it's pretty mature. It has a lot of services and it can provide all our needs, though that may be true. But you should explore other cloud providers as there are other architectures, other services that will be better in the long run. So keep that in mind. Like even when we have to do, we don't use AWS for a lot of things. We use GitHub, we use Cloudflare, we use Azure, even Alibaba, we use GCP. So pretty much we use the whole plethora of things that are out there to meet the customer architecture. Even Cloud My Site, our product that we have, it is deployed on, we kind of used the whole benefit of cloud to provide the cheapest solution and the most stable solution to our customers. A single cloud strategy, there's a myth that yes, it could be perceived as simplifying IT management with less vendor coordination, but with the APIs that are provided with the CLI options and with the other third-party vendor products available. So this is no longer the case, and even if you go multi-cloud, you will probably get a better IT management. And what is the last myth? If I put my application in the cloud, it is automatically going to be secure. And that's not true. Cloud is a shared responsibility model, where the cloud provider, the Azure or AWS, they take care of the data center, security, while you, the application owner, are responsible for your own security. It is not the cloud provider. Keep that in mind. So this is where cloud providers secure the infrastructure, but you must secure your application and data. And we have done a ton of videos on how you could go about it. You need to use custom managed keys. You need to have encryption at rest, encryption in transit. You need to have the right encryption algorithm. You need to be compliant. A lot of things that go into managing. But keep that in mind. It's not just the cloud provider. You need to take care of that. And which is called the shared responsibility model. And this is where I mentioned that the cloud providers have the responsible securing the hardware data centers, and you're responsible for your application. So I hope this provides a good overview about the top 10 cloud myths. Or drop in a comment if you feel that there are additional myths that a lot of customers or you would have run into and you want to bust them. We can definitely create another deck out here. There'll be a lot of such myths out there, but just wanted to mention the top 10 that we have run into and wanted to share those with you. So I hope this was good, informative, and please share with your customers or any other colleagues that you feel would want to benefit from having a better understanding on cloud. As always, have a good day. And before that, please like, subscribe, share the channel, subscribe our newsletter, and suggest our product cloudmysite.com, which is again the simpler cloud hosting with 100% availability. Thank you and have a good day.